All right, we're going to go talk about mediation though, because
Great.
you just brought this up. This is an alternative dispute resolution mechanism and helps in negotiating settlements. And we're in Franklin County. And so we're so lucky that Franklin County usually offers this as a free service by using a magistrate to do it. But what is mediation? Because we get that question all the time. We're like, hey, we want to take this to mediation. The client's, well, what is that? So what is it?
So mediation is a chance where ahead of time you can submit a mediation statement or a brief that puts forth your theory of the case, and the other side can do the same. A mediator reads it, so they're prepped, and then over the course of usually a day, the parties get together, often at the same place but not in the same room, and negotiations start. So the mediator will come in. He or she will ask you questions about your mediation statement. They might say, well, wait a minute. In their mediation statement, they said this. And then that gives a chance for me as an attorney to say, well, they might have said that, but here is where we differ on this. And then once sort of the facts are set forth and the mediator feels like they've got a handle on what we're arguing about, really, we can sort of come to a point and discuss dollar amounts. And that's where we usually get into mediation, where the attorneys have gone back and forth, shared offers, counter offers, and maybe we've gotten to sort of a point where things have stalled out, and mediator can help try to bridge that gap and see if you can get that settlement done.
Yeah, my favorite mediators look at the facts a little bit, but really, really hone in on the economics. That's my favorite part about mediation because the facts are absolutely important, but so is the reality of like what both sides are going to have to pay. And when we look from a business to business dispute where each side has to pay their own attorneys, that's super relevant. When we look at it from a business to consumer standpoint, it's relevant to our client because we represent the business. The consumer has a different model in which their attorney gets paid, which usually is not by the hour by the consumer. And so it's not as relevant. But we should note that the mediator doesn't have skin in the game. They're not employed by either party, they're not employed by either law firm. There's a pretty good ethics check that goes into it to make sure that they've never really represented or worked with the other party. And so Franklin County, they have court offered mediation, so it's free, but there's also private mediators that we can be utilized to help resolve it. And there's different techniques that can be used. I have a particular favorite mediator and technique, but I think that also goes with my vibe of like, let's skip ahead.
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line is that a mediator is a neutral party and they sort of help you get down to brass tacks.
And I think too, they help point out weaknesses in your case because we've had clients before that are just like, I have a slam dunk. And we may say like, hey, this is a little bit of a problem. We think you're strong, but you have this spot. And then we'll have a mediator come in and really hit home on why that's a problem. But doing the same thing to the other side. You know, they're
Right.
certainly not saying, well, your side's got the problem. The other side's perfect. That's part of their job is to say like this is a potential liability or weakens your case or reduces your recovery or whatever. And I think that's so beneficial for our clients to hear from someone who honestly doesn't matter. They don't care if the case gets resolved. You know, they're there to try to do it, but if it doesn't, no harm, no
It's
foul.
that third party neutral, and they sort of let you zoom out and get a different perspective on the case. Because I mean, I know that when we're in the weeds and we've been dealing with the case for months, we get sort of really, really attached to our theory of the case. And while, I like to think I'm always right, I'm not.
Right.